Good morning, everyone. Hope that we're all right. Hope that you're not missing match day too much. It's been a frustrating morning, hasn't it, so far? Everyone's looking out the window and sort of seeing that the snow's clearing. But here we are. We thought we've teased an announcement over the last couple of days or so, and as you can see on the screen now, there's a Mansfield Matters logo, there's a TalkSport Fan Network logo, and the words "new partnership announced." So, without further ado, we thought we'd pop on this morning, excuse me, have a little chat, and tell you a little bit more about it. Good morning. Hope that we're all right. Nice to be back in the studio after our little trip to Capo Lounge in the week. First and foremost, before I delve into any of the stuff about the TalkSport Fan Network and all of that stuff, if you want to talk anything Mansfield Town over the next sort of 10 minutes or so, I've got a bit of free time, so get it in the comments and have your say on your team. Also, as well, a massive thank you to the Capo Lounge for hosting us on Wednesday night for the Her Game 2 special. Such a shame that today's game is off and that the Her Game 2 stuff can't go ahead. I'm sure that they'll find another date to do that at another point. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more later on. We'll talk anything Mansfield Town later on as well if you want to have your say on your team. I've not told any of the rest of the Mansfield Matters panel that I'm going to jump on because I was just going to put a social media post out, and then I thought, you know what, I'm bored. So I'm going to jump on the internet and we might as well do a little bit of an impromptu live stream. I like it when we do the impromptu stuff. So it's just me at the minute. Although if there's any of them watching and you want to pop on and have a chat, you know what the link is. You know what to do. Get on your laptops and have a little conversation. If not, though, me and you guys can have a bit of a conversation. So you might have seen it at the start, but I'll pop it back on the screen for a minute or so anyway. The Mansfield Matters podcast is teaming up with the TalkSport Fan Network. We're going to be partnering with these guys until the end of the season. Really looking forward to it. What does it mean for you, the listener at home? Well, to be honest, absolutely nothing. Nothing is going to change in terms of the way we do the podcast, when we do the podcast, where you can listen to the podcast and all of that stuff. All us joining the TalkSport Fan Network means is that we, along with other podcasts up and down the 92, have become a bit of a group, a bit of a hub. It's a place really where football fans from up and down the country, if they want to find out more about other teams, other podcasts, and that sort of thing, from other clubs, then that's exactly what they can do. It's going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. I think at the moment, and I might be wrong on this, I think there may be around 20 to 30 podcasts. So the aim is for the TalkSport Fan Network to have one podcast representing every single club. So their network will be 92 at the end of it. And we're delighted that we've been approached and chosen to be the representative of Mansfield Town FC. And yeah, it's really, really great news. And to share that news, let's welcome Clive. Good morning.
Morning, Craig. Hats off to
How
you.
are you?
Managed to get the game abandoned so he could do this.
Yeah, I know. It's almost if like I had a chat with the weatherman, isn't it? And gone, do you know what? Sod it. Well, are you back in the land of Mansfield, or are you still on your little jollies?
No, I've been back a couple of days. I'm in Edwinstowe now.
Ah, there you go then. See, I thought it was you getting the game abandoned, and so you could have an extra few days away. But there you go. You look better for it, and you sound better for it as well, because I know you weren't very well last week. So good to see you back in full health. We'll talk Stags in a minute. Obviously, I was just telling our lovely listeners and lovely followers all about the TalkSport Fan Network. So we were approached, like I said, by TalkSport, by a guy called James, I think his name is, to become part of this network, and we've been chosen as the Mansfield Town representative for it. What does it mean for you as a viewer or a listener? Like I said earlier, absolutely nothing going to change. There is one subtle change which you might notice on screen, and that's just above Clive's head, where you'll see the Mansfield Matters logo. It's now got a TalkSport Fan Network badge in it. That's all we needed to do to become part of the network. So that's the only difference you will see on screen. Well, I say that. When we do the live video version of the podcast, there will be a 10-second video where we put as what we call a placeholder where in the audio version there will be adverts, which is provided by TalkSport. So as a video watcher, as a live watcher, nothing will change. As an audio listener, nothing will change either, except for halfway through the podcast, when you're listening to it after it's gone out live, there will be a short, and I mean short, ad break. Now, what does that mean for us as a podcast? What do we gain from doing that? Well, as you'll be aware, over the years, we've developed and grown, and this season and last season, we've had this fantastic platform, Restream, where we've been able to jump on, like Clive has just done. He's seen it on his phone. I've said, come and join us. And that's exactly what you've done, Clive, isn't it? You've gone, all right, I'm just going to get my laptop out and log on. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, you've interrupted something I was doing.
Well, there you go. I apologise. Yeah, exactly. I apologise. You didn't have to, but you could. And that's the
Oh
beauty
no,
of what
I
you've done.
couldn't resist.
Exactly. I didn't think you would be able to. And that allows us as a podcast to reach all the different parts of the country, so we can link up with Nathan in his new house once he finally remembers that there's a podcast on. We can link up with Cam over in Rotherham. We can link up with Nick. We can link up with Alan. We can link up with Clive. Anyone, basically, all around the globe, we can link up and have a crystal clean feed. Now, there is a downside to that for us as a podcast. It costs money. And we've been more than happy to put that money in, and we would be more than happy to continue to do so. But when somebody like TalkSport approaches you and says, we've got this idea for a fan network, we've got this idea to basically give something back to you guys as content creators, we were more than happy to do that. So by having these 30-second adverts or whatever they are in the audio-only version, I must stress that it's the audio-only version of the podcast, that allows us to gain an equal share of the advertising revenue which the TalkSport network will bring, which allows us to bring you better content. So we'll be able to do more stuff out and about at the Capo Lounge or out and about in Mansfield. We've already had some conversations with other places and other people and other people to see and get involved. So just by doing that, that will allow us to do that, and it will allow us to utilize our own money, if we wish to do so, into better microphones, better cameras, or even more different series. Stay tuned for something, by the way, relating to what we did on Wednesday, and hopefully, touch wood, something to do with the end of the season and the 10-year celebrations which come at the end of the season. So that's literally it in a nutshell. We've joined the TalkSport fan network. Along we will be the Mansfield Town representative of the 92. Nothing will change for you guys in terms of watching the show, apart from 10 seconds in the middle of it, where there'll be a literal video on there, which just literally says adverts will go here. It'll literally just be going, let's take a short break, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back in the room. And that's literally it. So thanks so much for your well wishes. By the way, if you are a local company, just had a little idea in my head, and you want to get your company in that 10 seconds of space on the video-only version, DMs are open, get in touch. So there you go, Clive. What do you think of that? Mansfield Matters now then part of the TalkSport fan network.
It's all very positive, Craig, isn't it? I mean, we've done as well as I think most people could expect us to do with the resources we have. And I'm pleased that we're getting a little bit of backup and also to reach out to other fan zones as well while we're at it. But I think to stand still is to go backwards. We do need to keep looking forwards, and this is an opportunity for us.
Yeah, that's something we've done all season long. We've done it with the Her Game 2 stuff earlier this week as well. We've tried to do it on a few different occasions with Stag Stories. We got the Andy White involved last year with a podcast, and by being part of this network, that's exactly what it'll be, able to allow us to do, and have access to various other geeky bits of stuff as well, which just allow us to give you guys as viewers and listeners a much better experience. Right, that's everything on TalkSport Fan Network then. Let's talk today. Let's talk all about today's postponement, because Cam popped up in the group chat earlier, didn't he? Going, I can't believe it's bloody off. And there's some other comments flying around, isn't there, Clive, about why is it off? Is it because it's Mez's birthday? Happy birthday, Mez, by the way. Absolute club legend. Did he want an extra party? Nothing to do with that. In actual fact, I think when we analyse it, I actually think it's probably a good thing that it's off today.
Absolutely suits us not to play today, because our squad is ravaged by injuries and illnesses. Um, and if it were up to me, there'd be a foot of snow in Northampton on Tuesday as well, because I think another break would do us no harm at all. Having said that, Cam made the point about there being a fixtures pile up. That's the price you pay, and sometimes you have no choice. And you know, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't where postponements through bad weather's concerned. If we'd have left it till today and then postponed it, and there's a chance, of course, we wouldn't have had to do if we'd done the inspection today. But had we had to postpone it today, then if I was a travelling fan from Leighton Orient, I'd be a bit miffed about that, because by the time the announcement would have been made, we'd have been on our way. And you know, buses have been contracted and all the stuff that people have to do. So I think there's an element of reasonableness on behalf of Mansfield Town for getting it done early. But let's not forget, it's the manager. It's not the manager who decides whether the game's fit or not. It's the referee, and the referee determined at the time he inspected the pitch that it wasn't fit to play on.
Yeah, 100%. If you think about having the boot on the other foot and things like that, today, if we'd have been going down to Leighton Orient, then we'd have been really, really fuming. Because, you know, look at last week, we left for AFC Wimbledon at what, 9 a.m. So, you know, we'd already been on the road, we'd have paid our coach fare, we'd have had our day planned out. And, you know, there is that. On the flip side of it as well, when they come up to us for the rearranged fixture, it will likely be a Tuesday night. Well, it will probably be a Tuesday night, a midweek game anyway, which means they will bring less supporters. We will no doubt continue to get our excellent attendances, which is advantage us. Yes, Cam made the point of, you know, there's not many Tuesdays left to fit into the calendar with other teams and things like that having their fixtures, but that doesn't matter, because I think we gain more in swings in this postponement than we do losing in roundabouts. We get players back fit. We get a better percentage of home fans versus away fans on the midweek arrangement, and who knows, it could well be that lovely game in hand which we need to win as well. So, as Alan mentioned in the comments, Leighton Orient wanted to travel down yesterday. Yeah, I think they did, and I think one thing that they would have done, they'd have travelled, you know, yesterday in horrendous weather, and also would have stayed overnight. So by getting it off early, we've saved them hotel costs. We don't have to foot the bill for some of that, as sometimes happens. So I actually think it's a good postponement all around, and it's one of those things, isn't it, where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And to be honest, if we end up winning the rearranged fixture, we'll be laughing. And, you know, if we get a few players back, we'll be laughing. It's the first chance, actually, as well. We've had to have a little chat. We had a bit of a chat about it on Wednesday when we had the excellent Her Game 2 panel with us, Clive. But, you know, we did get that result at AFC Wimbledon last week, but I think we do need to utilise any opportunity that we can to rest our players and to get a few bodies back. We've got a big game on Tuesday night in Northampton against a Northampton side who will not only be still wanting a little bit of revenge from last season, but also needing to beat us to solidify their place in that top 7 rankings.
Yeah, I don't think they would want the game postponed. I don't think Leighton Orient did, but equally, I don't think we did. In when you consider that our form has been pretty good anyway, despite all of the problems we've got with injuries, but because we've got no depth, and if another injury should to happen on the game that would have taken place today, we'd have been regretting it. But do you remember just over a year ago now when Mr. Blobby managed to persuade the health authorities in Stevenage that it was a variant of COVID-19 only descended on their football club, and the game was postponed then, and that's because it didn't suit them to play the game, if I'm being cynical, and we would have rather played that day because I think we'd found some form at the time. But these things happen in football. It's too cynical to suggest that Mansfield Town football can manufacture this postponement, but I think it suits us.
Yeah, absolutely. Clive, thanks so much for your time as always. We'll catch up with you hopefully before the Northampton game on Tuesday night if we get chance as a group. That's all we've got time for as well on this sort of little mini announcement video. So thanks very much for joining us. Plenty of comments as well. So thanks so much for them. And Darren also says, love the Her Game 2 podcast on Wednesday. Yeah, absolutely. It's something as a podcast we've been wanting to do for a long time. And as we sort of alluded to on Wednesday as well, it has been difficult to get female voices on the show, mainly because up until a few years, COVID really, when COVID hit, we've all been doing it live in person in a room like this, which may look like a little bit of a studio setup, but I can assure you it very much is my office in my house, aka my back bedroom. Now, it's quite difficult to get people you don't know in the first place to come round to your house, and it makes it even more difficult when you factor in the other things as well. So now we've got this virtual platform. Now that we've got a panel of Her Game 2 voices, led by Emma, as of course, it's something we're going to be looking to do much, much more of. And this deal with TalkSport, this agreement with TalkSport, this partnership, if you like, will allow us to do that as well, because we'll have a share of ad revenue, which they're going to obviously give to us and the other clubs who are involved. We're able to then put that money back into supporting the Her Game 2 panel or whoever it may be into creating some more content and things like that. So that's exactly why we've signed up to the TalkSport fan hub. That's exactly why we wanted to do it. We're only doing it till the end of the season. We'll see how it goes between now and then. And if it does continue to go well, then we will do it next season as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it really. Like I said earlier, I'll reiterate those points. Nothing will change for you as a viewer of the live show other than the logo, which you can see in the corner of your screen, which is just there somewhere over there. There it is, just there. Look, just there. You can see that logo just there. Nothing will change other than that logo for what you see. It's just got the TalkSport Fan Hub circle in it. There'll be a brief break in the live video version of the show, which will be no more than 10 seconds, which is an excellent opportunity. Unless we get a sponsor for the live video version, then we'll stretch it to 30 seconds and create an ad of that sort of thing. But all it will come up with is something on screen a little bit like this. And then there'll just be a countdown which says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll come back up. So here's how it will look on the show. Yeah, brilliant points there made. There's still time to get your comments in and have your stay on your team. When we come back, we'll have a little look at podcast predictions and we'll talk Danny Johnson for the 9 millionth time as well. We'll be back after these. And then this will come up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Mansfield Matters podcast, and we'll go on from there. So you see, nothing much will change in terms of your watching and viewing experience. If you're a listener to the audio version, in that gap where I say we'll be back after these, and before I say welcome back, there will be generated audio ads which are provided by the TalkSport fan network, which you can skip if you want. But they are provided by them, and we gain some revenue from that. So that's it really. We just wanted to do it to gain a little bit more access to a few more things. As from a production side of things, we get access to various courses and their tech people to try and make things as bigger and better as we can. We get access to a different online platform, which we've transferred the podcast over to today. You'll still be able to get it on Spotify, iTunes. You don't need to resubscribe or anything like that either. We get access to that, which if we didn't sign up to the TalkSport fan network, we'd have to pay for, which of course we have been doing as well. So that means that we get some money back in our pocket to plunge back into the podcast and that sort of thing. So there you go. Just wanted to announce that we're part of that. Thanks so much for your well wishes. We'll see you again next week for another podcast. We'll hopefully do one before the Northampton game on Tuesday. If not, we will see you on, I think, possibly Thursday night as we review Northampton and look ahead to the weekend. Right, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever it is you're going to be doing with it. And make sure, if you're not already, to subscribe to the Mansfield Matters podcast via all good podcast networks. The Mansfield Matters podcast, a proud part of the TalkSport fan network. We'll see you again next time on the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield